We're live.
We're live. Thank you, Randy.
Good morning, guys.
We are.
Captain Greg DeBrule here with my good buddy here, CJ Adams, talking a little tackle on Friday. Today we're going to be talking about wire line trolling. Okay. Now I know a lot of head boats. No head boats do that.
No.
We're probably the only one that does it, but you know there's a lot to it. Believe me, there's a hell of a lot to it.
I know you grew up doing it.
I grew up doing it. That was our forte down the reefs of Watch Hill. I mean, it was. It's not like any other type of fishing. Now anybody can throw a lure overboard with wire line and troll it around. That's not how it works. There's a lot to it. But
I was raised by my grandfather and father. That's what I did. But nothing compared to what you did. But it was a lot of fun. And if you get the hang of it, there's an art to it.
There's an art to it. And when we're on a head boat, when you got 40, 50, 60 people. When we're diamond jigging and the tide lets go and we're not catching anything, we get the wires, throw the wires out. And how many times have we caught 6, 8, 10 striped bass and bluefish while we're waiting for the tide to go the other way? And it's entertaining to the customers. But there is something to it. To begin with, first and foremost, and you see this so many times, you got to troll wire. I don't know how many times in my career I've cut behind a skiff and I've given him plenty of line, plenty of distance, and the guy's screaming and yelling that I'm going to cut his line off because he's trolling monofilament line. And you can't, if you're going to troll something, you have to troll wire line. And your options are twofold. You can troll stainless steel, which 99% of the people do, or we'll just mention Manel.
Yeah.
Manel wire is a combination of copper nickel alloy. It's about 3 times as expensive as stainless.
Do they still use them now?
They still use it, but it's very, very expensive.
Yeah.
It's got its advantages. It fishes a little deeper, and it's much softer to use than stainless. But anyhow, wire line. I used to use for jigging. We used to use 026. Okay, 26 thousandths wire. For the umbrella rigs, we used to use 032, which was heavier. 026 is probably 55-pound tests. 032 is about 80-pound tests. Okay? But you have to understand, to begin with, for every 100 feet of wire you let out, your rig goes down approximately 10 feet. Depending on tide conditions, you're going up tide, down tide, cross tide, depending on what you got on there. Do you have an umbrella rig on there, or a single lure? But just as an approximate. So if you've got in 30 feet of water and you're trying to get down near the bottom, you'd have 225, 250 feet out, and you'd be right where the action is. Okay.
For those of you who might not know, an umbrella rig. This is basically an umbrella rig right here. It's got 4 hooks, and the tide does this stuff. It spins as you let it out, and when you troll and the fish, we're tangled up here, climb on. This is one of ours that it's been
This is
used
from last year.
We have it brand new, but you can catch 4 fish at a time. Now, and it's happened before a lot of times. You hook 4 25-pound striped bass on it, you're going to know. But that's your umbrella rig, and that's what we use on the Blackhawk, and that's what you grew up using as well.
Now there's a difference, just to see something here. This is what's called bead chain, okay? And bead chain is it's got its places, but we just used a swivel like that. You can see the difference. That's a swivel, and this is bead chain. Bead chain moves a lot. Now you have to understand, when you're making these worms, if you put too much bend in them, depending on the current, they spin too fast. So there's without going into a lot of detail, there's an art to making this. Okay? I used to make up 200, 250 of these frames in the wintertime, buy the tubing by the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet, cut it all, make all the worms. I mean, we were course, we were catching back then. We were catching 100 bluefish a trip, 2 trips a day, 7 days a week.
And you got to change it almost every trip.
And you got to work like that. Hook there has been caught so many fish, you can see it's got to be bent back. But believe me, there's an art to making these, okay? That's why somebody like J&B Tackle, they sell this. This is a $50 rig. I almost fell over when Gary gave me this yesterday. But just to give you an example, this is... Then you can put this in. We see this so many times. A boat puts it in the water, tows it for 100 feet, snags the bottom.
Yeah.
Not only loses the rig, they lose the wire.
You can't just dump the reel. What's that mean? You can't just let all the line out. You got to slow it down a little bit because it sinks so fast. And before you know it, you let out 300 feet of wire. It's on the bottom.
Yeah, most people put tape on. They put tape on the line, right? And they do
mark
it
it.
100
Well,
feet or so, so they mark it so they know.
I just wanted to show them this.
Yeah.
This comes from J&B Tackle. There's 400 feet on here, and there's I unwound this a little bit just to show you the mark. Get up close to it, but you have to have the wire marked. When I was doing it, we'd put 400 feet on, and we'd mark it every 100 feet. So you'd let the first 100 out, go down 10 feet, and if you wanted 150 feet, you let the first mark go to the water. That was approximately, but it has to be marked. Okay, and this is like I said, this is from J&B Tackle. It comes 400 feet already marked every 50 feet. We didn't use every 50 feet, but one of the things if you're doing your own, and we see this all the time, is the haywire twist on the end. Find me the end of that. Find me the end of that. What they call this is where the wire ends and the swivel begins, and now you tie your monofilament on that. And I used to use 6 fathom, 36 feet to the umbrella rig or the lure or whatever. But this is the important part. That's called a haywire twist. That's how you end it right there. Now, what happens? A lot of people, and I'm using this so you can see it, a lot of people do this. Okay, they take the wire. This is just aluminum wire just to show you so it's big. And they wrap it around. And there's no strength in that whatsoever. And not only that, they snip the end with a pair of pliers. So, man, every time that's a rugged edge right there. Every time that thing comes in, if you're cutting wire with pliers, every time it comes in, it hits your finger. And you get cuts and everything else. And I mean,
if you know how to do it right, it doesn't get your finger.
If you know how to do it right, but that's not how to do it. This is a haywire twist. You see the difference? Okay? This is where the strength is, right here, in this. Not this, in this part. But that's called a haywire twist. And you use that not only for wireline fishing, you use it like on your shark wire and everything else. And you end it with a couple of wraps on it. And then instead of cutting it with pliers, you grab the tag end and you twist it and you break it off. Now, when you break the wire off, now you got a smooth area there that can't hurt you as it's coming in and out of the rod, okay? Haywire twist the right way, wrapped around with a lethal knife edge the wrong way, okay? But so important.
There's certain reels you got to use as well. You can't use the graphite spools, right? You agree? You can. Don't get me wrong.
You can use anything,
but the way to do it is stainless. You want that wire will start eating through all that graphite over time. Now you could use it, but you want to use the stainless. So if you're in the wire, if you're going trolling for bass or blues with the wire line, I recommend.
Penn still makes the centers with the stainless spools. They're more money, but
this is a 400.
They're geared towards wire line. That's what they're.
And just to let you know, this
is guides as well.
This is an over-the-counter trolling rod, carbide guides. This whole setup, and I asked J&B Tackle, he wrote it down there. How much is this setup? Let me see. This whole setup, rod, reel, and 400 feet of wire is about $370. Okay, novice type thing. Now, I will say this. You want to hear something? I used to use, you know what international reels are. I used to use 20s and 30s for fishing. Now, why did I do that? Number one, I took the reels apart and I epoxied the spools because the spools were aluminum. And if you didn't epoxy it with epoxy resin and cloth, the electrolysis between the aluminum spool and the wire line would eat the reel. So I'd take them apart when I first got the reels, epoxy the spools, and I would use the 20s, the 20 Internationals for jigging, and I'd use the 30s for the umbrella rigs. Now, why? Because of the drags. These reels are terrific. Don't get me wrong. We use them on the boat.
Oh, yeah.
But the drag system in here, a lot of times they have what's called chatter. So if you get a 50-pound bass on here and 5-6 feet of line will go out and then it stops and then another 5 goes out, with the Internationals I found, they were smooth as silk. So when that customer was jigging that line and that 60-pound bass jumped on that thing, that line just went right out and you saved the fish. I know when we were pollock fishing, guys they'd break my stones all the time. What are you wasting international reels for on pollock fishing with the umbrella rigs and with downriggers? But the thing was, we would catch more doubles,
more successful,
and triples. We'd be more successful. Instead of breaking the rig apart and breaking mono, the drag would let that thing go, release it nice and smooth, and we'd get those doubles and triples, because of the reel. That's all, But
someone asked about when you'll be talking about the right rods to use.
Have to have carbide.
Yeah, it's show them the guides.
You have to have carbide guides. These are expensive guides, but the monofilament, the wire line will cut the guide if it's not carbide.
The guides with the inserts in them is what he's saying.
Yeah,
break the inserts.
Most people that do it buy custom rods. They buy a couple of them and they match them, with the right setup for the wire lines. And
if you go to a good tackle store, and I hate to keep plugging J&B Tackle, but Carrie's a dear friend of mine for 50 years, and I was just talking to him yesterday, about rods, because we're going to order a few more trolling rods because we're going to do more of it this year. The customers love it. It's different. I'm the only head boat that I know that does it.
It works. There's a time for it, and when the time's right, we do it.
There's
and
a time
and it works.
for it, and that's all there is to it.
We could take you diamond jigging for 6 hours, and in that one window, the slack they call it, you're not going to catch much of anything at all. So instead of wasting your shoulders, wasting your arms for that hour,
instead of going to look at the seals over Gull Island,
put out the umbrella rigs.
And hang on, and we keep rotating customers. Anybody that wants to do it.
It just puts more fish in the boat.
The kids love it. We usually try to get the kids to jump up, and they have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, but there is some secrets to it. Believe me, there's a lot of. All the charter boats do it, but I know this is going to piss off a lot of people, but I don't care. You can count on less than one hand how many boats are in Connecticut that troll efficiently and effectively and do their own gear from start to finish. I used to buy spools of wire, 20 pounds, 25 pounds from Wachusett's Wire Company, and you'd have to run it out at the dock to market.
That's what I grew up doing.
I did the same thing. Have 100-foot marks on the dock, run it down
on the dock. I used to make 30, 40 wires during the wintertime. I had a little machine. I could do it on the table too. And I get all this stuff ready to go. Umbrella rigs. I used to make. We used to take the frames ourselves and bend the ends and crimp the teasers on. I'd make 250, 300 of these during the wintertime. The wintertime was geared for making all this stuff because you didn't have time you didn't have time during the season to do all that. Sailing 2 trips a day, 300 trips a year, you had just enough time to repair all this stuff as it broke, And
it breaks often if you're successful at it. The fish climb on, and it breaks.
When we were catching that many fish, you had to go through all the gear on the way in, repair it, change tubes, change hooks, change the mono. The mono gets torn up, and everything. So you're constantly repairing it to keep it as efficient as you can. Because catching them fish, it wasn't everything. It was the only thing. That's what was success or failure was determined by what you flopped on the dock. That's all there is to it. I know it's changed now, but there's so many boats. But like I said, there's less than 5 people, as far as I'm concerned, that understand how this. And I will tell you one thing: the guys that are good at this today, the guys that are good at trolling, started in the cockpit. That's where you learn. There's no question about it. I don't know anybody that just says, "Well, I'm going to go trolling," and gets up on the bridge of the boat and it just doesn't work that way. Now, like I said, any boat can throw a couple of umbrella rigs over and tow it around and catch fish, especially today, because it's easier today than ever. You got GPS, you got plotters, you got spot lock, you got, holy Christ, are you kidding me?
Back then we had land ranges.
Yeah, you had land ranges. You talk to some of these charter boats today and say, yeah, you know what that range is? They don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
Nor do the people on this video watching us know what we're talking about.
What happens when they cut down the tree on the range?
Oh, God.
Or they clear the land in the notch.
Or they demo the house. Or...
We just didn't have that stuff back then. You know, you had to learn. I mean, when I started out of Stonington, I started with a compass, a watch, and a Pelco recorder, a paper machine that you had to keep changing the stylus on. And that was it. You wanted to get to Block Island in the fog, you better time it. And pray to God there wasn't anything in front of you, because we didn't have radar back then.
Did you make it to Block Island?
Made it. 56 years of doing it. So anyhow, here's one of my reels we used to use. We used to use quite a few Daiwa. Boy, these were tough reels.
Those are great reels.
They don't make them anymore. They don't make them because they don't break. This was what the
Sea Lion, yeah.
We still have some on our diamond jig rods. Not that in particular.
God, these were so good. This has got 400 feet of wire on it. You can see some of the marks in there. I mean, this has been down in my basement for a while.
Yeah, we still use them. They're slowly going just because we can't repair them. But
yeah, we still have
tough
them.
reel.
We still have them.
Tough reel, boy. I'll tell you. You know. Anyhow, so that's a little bit about trolling. Like I said, if you're gonna troll, you gotta troll wire. Don't be trolling monofilament. I don't care how much mono you let out, it ain't going down. Okay? When one of these boats cuts and back in, they cut the line off. Don't get pissed off. I mean,
it happens.
It happens, you know.
We see a lot during the summer months.
Oh my God, it's just some of these guys go bananas. But I don't know. He's towing his little Rapala Lua on 400, 500 feet of monofilament behind the boat.
It's on the surface.
And you know, that's about it. Anything else we can tell?
I will say this: if you guys are going to plan on getting into this, study it, research it, and don't just buy one umbrella rig. Even the pros, make sure you got a couple. Because,
a couple.
You will lose them if you're not careful.
How many times do we pull up wire when we're fishing in the race with lures on them? And oh my God, I don't know how they. I mean, it's not cheap. A spool of wire like this. I mean, this is not cheap. I mean, this sells for $45. You can lose it like that if you don't do the right thing with it. You know, I mean, Carrie tells me some of these guys come in and they buy 3, 4, 5 of these just to have them. Are you kidding me? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. But anyhow, it's an art, and you know what? It's an art that I hate to say it, is slowly fading off into the distance, you know.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree.
I mean, his grandfather used to do it. His father used to do it. I used to do it. That was it. I mean, I did a lot of diamond jigging too, and bucktailing and all that. But wireline fishing is gonna fade away when the guys that really know how to do it now, and when they're dead and gone, because the new charter boat clientele, it's my business, unfortunately, and I say this with a tear in my eye, my business is so diluted today. It's just unbelievable. It's sad. It really is sad. There's still some really good guys, really sharp guys that are dedicated to the industry and really want to catch above all, but boy, the industry is so saturated and so diluted with part-time boats and small boats, and everybody wants to have CAPT in front of their name. And now with the comic book licenses that they give out, you can go to a course and get a license, and all of a sudden you're in the charter boat business. I mean, holy Christ, it's incredible. It's too bad. It was fun.
Ready?
But anyhow,
any comments or questions?
One guy just wanted to add a question about porgy rod. He just wanted to know if it's best to use a medium or medium heavy rod for porgy? I don't know.
All depends on
address that.
what depth of water you're fishing and where you're fishing.
Depth has everything to do with it. You know, I try to use as light as you can. I mean,
especially with porgies, you can get away pretty light, but if you got to fish heavy
light.
sinkers, if you're in the tide, so then you got to go with a heavier rod. So it just really depends.
A lot of the regulars, they'll bring a couple rods. Some bring even 3.
Yeah.
Depending on where we're going, because we might start off south of Fisher's Island in 20 feet of water and end up outside on a little wreck or something on 100 feet of water. It makes a difference, you know. So, you know,
a few different rods is always good to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that's it. Like the rods for the umbrella rigs, or what we call tubing. The rods for tubing are different than the rods for jigging. For jigging, you want to, because you got to, and the rod makes a difference. As jigging, at least. Maybe not tubing, because tubing, you know, when you're towing an umbrella rig, that's doing the work. That's doing the work. But boy, when you're jigging that thing, I know I tested Carrie yesterday, because I used to get Shimano rods. They were number 1703. I can't remember what I ate last night, but I remember 1703. I'd buy 8 or 10 of them. I'd strip them down, and then I'd give them to Carrie to have him put the best carbide guides on them and to wrap them. And those rods, that blank, that 17, you know, that caught better than anything because it had the right snap in it. Okay, that's how sophisticated it is, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, this is a tubing rod. You can snap this, too. It ain't going to catch as good, okay? I don't care what anybody says. You know, you can drive a nail with a brick, but it certainly works a lot better with a hammer, and an electric nail gun's even better. Ka-tung, 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 ka-tung. It's the same in this industry. Got to get the right tool for the right job, you know?
Spend the money once, you don't have to do it again. That's what I like to tell everybody.
Either that or break in and steal it somewhere.
Don't do that.
Okay, that's it. We took up enough of your time, okay?
I know squid fishing was a popular topic. Maybe we'll do that next week. We're also in contact.
We'll do that. We want to do squid fishing next week?
I don't know.
Okay.
We're in contact with a couple of girls. Cooking.
Hopefully we'll do some cooking.
Oh, that's right. We're going to cook. That's always fun. Yeah.
Popular place.
Bottle of wine.
Might ring a bell to a few old viewers, but we'll see. We're in contact with them. We'll see what it brings us to the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. From Captain Greg's beautiful living room.
From CJ Adams.
Yeah.
CJ Adams.
From CJ Adams.
Captain Greg DeBrule.
We'll see you, folks. Okay, have a great weekend. Take care.